That's when you see some strange faces, you begin to laugh and you're so happy about it, and that gets you in a rap mood, and you want to rap for them. But today I'm not going to be rapping for Olawale because it's been missing for too long. I'm pretty sure people don't even recognize him again, anyways. My name is Sidaneja Adeboali. It's the best sporting show in the whole of the universe. It's Newsinstanta Sport, of course. Every on a band radio scope on our YouTube channel, on Quiz Talk TV, and anywhere else you can think of on Instagram, on TikTok, and Newsinstanta One, Newsinstanta Sports, Instanta Two on Twitter. I will allow Olari to introduce himself. I'm pretty sure people don't recognize him again. So yeah, good luck with that, Olari. Go ahead.
Good day, sporting fans around the world. Good day, sporting fans around the world. It's been close to 5 to 6 months since I was on the show. It's been a bit of. I didn't plan to stay this long out, but due to some circumstances, moving from one location to the other and trying to figure out the best internet, it was a challenge. But now I think I'm fully back on the
Oh,
show. A lot has happened in those 5 months. A lot has happened in those 5 months. From Luka
oh
Doncic
yeah,
trade
yeah, that's true.
to I can't even. They are just
The
too much
playoff
things like
series,
this.
yeah,
Liverpool winning the league
Liverpool winning the
title,
title,
the playoff
yeah, yeah.
things. So I, I think probably there are more stories in the NBA more than probably the footballing world within that period. But again, it's good to be back on the show. Let's try out as much as we can and give you the best in the next
All right,
30, 40
perfect. Of
minutes.
course, we'll be starting with the basketball end of things, where there are a whole lot of things that has happened in the basketball world, especially when you're talking about two. Okay, one expected finalist because of course they're the best or the second best team in the NBA in OKC, but one that we are not expecting, of course, will be the Pacers. I wouldn't have predicted that the Pacers will be in the NBA Finals, but here we are. Our Pastor Siakam winning the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, everybody expected that brought him to win that, including myself. When we were about to announce it last time, like, here goes how they brought in my boy. But of course, Siakam won it. Good one for Toronto, if you ask me. So we're happy, whether it's at the bottom, whether it's whether it's Siakam. I'm happy with both. Yeah, I'm
Pascal
happy with both.
Siakam.
But all right, let's look at it holistically now. The Pacers versus the Knicks. Personally, I feel the Knicks fumbled the bag. This is a series that they could actually have won. Um, Katz got himself into too many foul troubles. Bronson last night, I think he dropped 35 points. But I'm not fooled by statistics. I'm fooled by the test of the eye. Sometimes you draw 35, but you could be the most endangered species or the bane to your team itself, right? And that's how I saw Bronson last night. Josh Hart, that I expected more from over the course of this series as well, did not bring his A game to the series at all. Best player on that team is OG. OG is the best on the team throughout the entire series, defensively, even offensively sometimes. Uh, do you agree with me that the Knicks actually did fumble the bag for this one, or was just like the Pacers were just better across the 6 games?
Okay, so if you look at the regular season standing, I think the Knicks won 50 games, while the Indiana Pacers, I think they won 49 games. I think there was just a game in between them. The Knicks were third, the Pacers were fourth. Even at that, I think there was this general belief on paper that the Knicks were probably the better team when you look at the quality of players. Why for what do you call it, for the Pacers, it's about the culture, it's about having an identity. It's, you know what they will do. They capitalize a lot on the pressure of the ball a lot. and they force the opposing team to turn the ball
As little
over.
as possible.
So they score a lot on transition. And unfortunately, on the part of the Knicks, their transition defense has been probably um, their Achilles in this current in this season. So, but again, if you look at the Knicks in the regular season, there is this, you don't know what you expect from them, even
I
despite the talent. Uh, During the regular season, they couldn't defeat any of the top team. I'm talking about the Cleveland
Celtic.
Celtics, and the top guys from the East. Their record against those teams were very, very terrible. So going to the playoffs, people were a bit like, a lot of people even predicted that. Some people predicted that the, what do you call it, the Pistons were
That's why I
going to
always say that
upset them.
they were lucky to
And
win
if
against
you lose,
The Pistons. Why?
so if you lose two games, if you lose two games at home against the Pistons, it shows there is something inconsistent about your team. And you won three on the road. And that was why a lot of people, nobody gave them the chance against the Celtics. And when they defeated the Celtics, a lot of people felt they turned the tide at that point. And if you look at it critically, out of the four games they won against the Celtics, Celtic could have easily
Good
probably
enough.
won two or
Yeah.
three of those
Coming
games
back from 2020.
if they probably just play the
Yeah.
right basketball. So I think the Knicks were just a team that you don't know what you expect from them, and for the Pacers on the other hand, you know what you are going to get from them. And I think that was just the difference between these two. It's not about the talent; it's about a team that has an identity of what they do. They've been very consistent about it, and sometimes some of these things comes start from the regular season. No matter how you want to take the regular season, that is where you form an habit. That is where you form a pattern. This is how an identity of what and what you are known for. And one very let me say, the thing that needs to be pointed out. There is this saying in the playoffs that most teams shrink their rotation from what they play in the
Yeah.
regular season, from 10 11 players to probably
To
7 or 8 at most. But the unique thing about the two teams that are going to play in the NBA finals is they go deep into their rotation. Both teams make use of 10 to 11 players against the common 7 to 8, and which gives them an advantage. What they expect from each players is not as much as what you expect from a rotation of 6 7. Team Thibodeau did not trust a lot of his bench, because even during the regular season he keeps playing 7 8 players, and a player that you did not even give a chance
January
in the regular
16
season, how do you trust him
in the playoffs.
when you go into playoffs? When formula as the 7 8 players you trusted, when it's not working, when you need to introduce something, it's difficult to go to a player that you hardly give a chance in the 82 games regular season to do something for you. So I think one if you look at the Golden State Warriors team that dominated a lot were made about the Steph Curry, the Klay Thompson of this world. But I think what people have actually forgotten about that team is the strength of their bench. If you could recall very well, most times when they take over the game is majorly at the beginning of the third quarter, and that is when they play mostly their bench, the
Their
Sean
bench.
Livingston of this world,
Yeah. Yeah.
Kevin Looney, Andrew Guardiola. So I think it's something a lot of coaches have neglected, and we are seeing a little something at least like okay, so you have 5 players who can all defend, and that was the same thing with the Celtics last year. They are all their 5 players. There is no weak point in their starting five where you could point out and say this is the point of attack. That was what the Celtics did to the Mavericks last year. They were
Yeah.
at every point in time they were attacking Luka Doncic, because Luka Doncic was weak defensively, and the weakest offensive player in what do you call it in Celtic is probably a second best or third best player in another team. So
Another thing.
that
Yeah.
was why that contest was not so. You could see from having a big three or a super big two, we're having teams now whose identity is defend as in defensive identity. We see that from the Pacers,
Yeah.
OKC,
Yeah.
OKC's defensive rating this year I think is probably one of the greatest ever.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what analysts have said.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. You look at Caruso shutting out Joe Nicola out, and turning out those numbers defensively as well in the last game against the Timberwolves. Anyways, I'll go to the finals now. Great matchup if you ask me. The Pacers versus OKC. I think those probably two of my favorite players, or yeah, two of my favorite players, Inter is at the bottom, who I love so much, and of course SGA is a hometown boy here in Hamilton, so we love him. So definitely we're going to be rooting for him, and of course we can't forget Siakam was one of us as well before he betrayed us and went to Indiana. But we still love Siakam nonetheless. How do you feel about this matchup between OKC and and the Pacers, and how do you think this will be a 6 game series or 7 game series? And I'll ask you this question. The reverse was the case last year when we had the Celtics well rested from the East before the NBA Finals. But the reverse is the case right now. The OKC has been rested. They are well rested now before Pacers close out their series. So how do you think this is going to end? 6 games, 7 games? Definitely not five.
on paper, if you look at the regular season, because they are both of them are in a different
Obviously, yeah.
conference, the max number of times they will meet is
Yeah.
2 times, and in the 2 games, the OKC won the 2 games and they won convincingly. But again, why you don't want to read too much? I think it was those early parts of the season where Tyrese Haliburton was not really on top of the game. I'm seeing OKC in 5 in
Oh
this,
wow.
and because I think for all the good teams
The
that
Pacers are good.
um, Pacers have played, I don't think they've played the level of defense. What do you call it? The OKC is going to
Yeah.
throw at them, and I think that will be a very, especially what do you call at the perimeter. So if this series is going to get to either 6 or 7, or let me say even the Pacers are going to have any chance of winning, it has to be a Pascal Siakam series. It has to be a series where Pascal Siakam will probably have to dominate uh Hutchinson, what do you call it? He's going to dominate Hutchinson and this guy
I
Chet
check
Ongram.
up. Yeah.
It's going to be about Naismith.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't see what do you call it? Tyrese Haliburton really having such a great impact, considering the number of bodies, considering the number
That
of
was trusting.
guys. What do you call it? The OKC will be able to throw at him.
Yeah.
The only team that has probably given OKC a scale this postseason is the Denver Nuggets,
Yeah. Of course.
and their best player is a center. So it is not. You could see Jamal Murray's impact was on and off, on and off. You couldn't get a consistent performance from, because those guys, you can't just have 2 excellent games against those, what do you call it?
Okay.
So it's going if Pacers are going to win this series, or they are even going to have a chance of making it a 6 game, 7 game series, it's going to be a hell of series in terms of energy. Both teams are full of energy. Both
Yeah.
teams develop a lot of their teams. What do you call it? But again, Shea Alexandra, who is the MVP, I think is another level. I'm sure he's still going to make an impact. If there is any player from both teams that you can consistently say over the 6 game we average 30 points, you know that is going
30.
to be
Yeah.
Shea. And J, of course, is going to need the support of the supporting cast. J Dub will have to come to
Yeah.
the table and prove to be that second best
He
player in
has
that
all
team.
series, all play of long. So I don't think.
Or probably, but probably he struggled against Denver. He
Yeah,
struggled against Denver. But again,
it
since they
was
can
Denver.
survive
Yeah, it
Denver,
was Denver. Denver is definitely going to be the strongest team for them to play in the series, right? I feel, yeah,
and which so
and they came. Even in Denver, talking about the Denver really tried taking the OKC down the wire like they did, and the reason why I say so is because they ran through the wall against the Clippers. Clippers just fumbled the bag basically. They dropped the ball because I think they went to game seven if I'm not mistaken.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
it got to Lakers. Yeah,
Clippers.
I think the Denver Nuggets. It's unfortunate that they have what owners that for me they are not that ambitious. They fumble because this last 3 years they could have easily probably won two out of the three.
Yeah,
I've not seen a team that have won the championship and regress in terms of their squad. Denver practically probably play with the only starting five. And one of the problem, Mike Malone and Kevin Booth, their general manager, that was the problem about them is the problem between the two of them has always been Kevin Booth was focusing more on developing players. Malone was feeling like we have the best player in the world presently. We
let's
need
talk
to
about
make you. We need to
out
get
of
the
it.
best out of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So, which you could imagine if Denver could have gotten one good player from the bench, there was no way they would have won that series. But
Definitely,
again,
yeah,
it is
yeah,
what it is.
definitely would have won that series. Anyways, so Olale are calling OKC in five. I'm saying it's going to go down to the five.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
saying
say
five,
six or
yes.
seven. Personally, for me, I think home court will be defended for the Pacers, and that would definitely make a whole lot of difference in this series. Just before we go, just to run through some things. KD talks is ongoing right now. OKC is being touted for him to go to the Timberwolves to join his mentee AE, which I think it will be a good one for them. And Golden State Warriors off the table. So where do you think it would definitely end? Because it's definitely been the Suns this off season. But where do you think it's going to end up?
So it's a bit what we've learned in recent times is it's going to be a bit dicey. I think Kevin Durant has only 1 year left on his
Yeah.
contract. It now depends. I think as much as he wants to leave the Suns, I'm not sure he wants a situation of what happened to the Suns, whereby by joining the Suns gave away so much that he joined the team and of a sudden they couldn't compete. There was no bench and they
Yeah.
couldn't. They lost Michael Bridges and
Yeah.
Cam. One of is it Cam
Cam
Thomas or what's the name
Thomas.
of the
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it Cam Newton? I
Yeah.
can't. I know is
Yeah.
it
Cam
Cam
Thomas.
Thomas?
Yeah.
So I think they lost two of their big rotation. Those guys that make their bench so thick. So I think it depends on what I'm not sure how much what do you call it the Timberwolves
Will be able to give up.
will be willing to give. So yeah, lots of people are looking at probably the Rockets,
Yeah, the Rocket might be
probably
a good one too.
Timberwolves. But so I think it depends on what how much the Suns are demanding and how much the other team are willing
They
to
really
give.
can't they really
Uh,
can't demand much. That's the problem. They really can't demand much.
I think going to the Timberwolves, if they are not going to lose so much. I think that is going to be exciting because if you look at Timberwolves now, one of the major problems they are having is their offense. What do you call it?
Randall,
What's the name of this their star player? This
Anthony
is
Edwards.
what do you, Anthony Edwards. He looks like the only player who can create his own shot, which is going to be a bit. He needs somebody consistently who is reliable beside him, and that you think KD. And you know one interesting thing that the NBA is going through now is since the Lakers
Look
in
what we have. Look
2020,
who we have here.
since the Lakers in
Yeah,
2020,
go ahead.
since the Lakers in 2020, there's always that few when the team any of those when they won any of those team won the championship that they are likely to make a run. When the Lakers won in 2020, a lot of people believe they might probably win one or two more, but they could not do that. When the Bucks won it in 2021, there was that same feeling around the NBA world that they are going to do some like that's not going to be their last.
Yeah,
Probably Golden State Warrior was probably the only team that people felt like, okay, that could be the end of the dynasty. Probably that could be their last championship. When Denver won, there was this optimism about, okay, Joker is the best player in the world. They are going to win one or two more. Celtic last year, everybody, a lot of people are almost certain that they are going to repeat it this year. But here we are, NBA. This is the seventh season, seven different champions. So all these moves, KD and Giannis are going to have a lot of say about what the landscape of the NBA is going to be next year, and what those teams are going to. So you have to look at you have to look at the Spurs, you have to look at
That would be
Rockets, the
that would be
Timberwolves.
amazing, man. Yeah,
For
that would
those
be amazing. Yeah,
those are the
yeah,
teams I think could have
yeah,
the pick,
yeah.
or those are the teams that I think have the material or the players or the picks
To, to do.
to do
Okay, Kashi,
those
I'm going to show
trades.
you. I'm going to show
Outside
you
those
the
ones,
Wolves.
I don't see any other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to show Kashi to the Wolves. Right. Put you right on the spot. OKC Pacers. Olawale said it's going to be in 5 games. I'm saying it's going to come down to the wire because I feel the Pacers will be fed home court. To game 6 or game 7 at the very least. OKC definitely better. On paper, test or buy. I'm not a paper guy, but test or buy on paper everywhere, even in heaven, they are better than
Mhm.
you. So basically, what do you think and why?
Thanks, guys, and happy to be part of the team. So good to see Olawale again. It's been a minute. Olawale, good to have you. Um, I do think this is OKC's championship. I'm going to speak from two angles. I'm going to speak from the angle of a basketball fan, and that is I want these two young teams to prove to us why they are the last two standing, and that is to take this to 7 games. It's going to be the biggest marketing boost that the NBA would need. I say this primarily because the NBA Finals is coinciding with the Stanley Cup's final as well in the hockey playoffs. Um, the NBA needs to have a longer sustenance than hockey. That's let's just put it that way. The NBA games must last longer, or I'm speaking as an NBA fan, it must last longer and give us more entertainment. Last year, the two teams currently playing in the Stanley Cup final met last year. They gave us a classic 7 games. They are repeating again this year. They start on Wednesday, the NBA starts on Thursday. The NBA needs to also give us something akin to that 6 or 7 games to leave a lasting impression. That is one. Now, my professional opinion is that I think OKC matches up well. And Debo, remember, we always say this in the playoffs, it's all about matchup, it's not about
Yeah,
where you are seated.
yeah,
I think both teams have two really good bigs that they can interswitch. Obi Toppin is playing out of his
out of
mind
this.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I think it's Robinson. I can't remember. Also, and Lou Dort has cemented himself. I'm a bit biased because he's from Montreal, Quebec, but he has cemented himself as well. So I want to see a battle of the bigs. I want to see a battle of the shooting guards. I want to see who, if Ludot will be assigned to Marshall Pascal Siakam, and what kind of defensive scheme they would have against that. You see, the edge the Pacers, I believe, have over OKC is how fast they move the ball. One player is not holding the ball for even up to 4 seconds on the
yeah,
shot clock, right? The
yeah,
ball is zipping along the lines.
yeah.
Now that pick and roll switch, how well will OKC defend it will be interesting to see. But I say this collectively, I do believe OKC has the better team. They both have a very good bench. They get almost 30 points from their bench each time. So it's going to be a battle of turnovers. And I think OKC wins this. They get to split one of the series
One of
in
the games in
Indiana.
Indiana.
I think they are going to hold Homestead, and this game ends in six games. I think
Yeah,
OKC
yeah. That's what I
finally
said. Yeah, that's what I
finally
think. So
becomes champion, and it will kill all these rumors of a potential homecoming for Kevin Durant when that happens.
come on. Don't be a boss kill, man.
Yeah, I think
Why don't you want him to go home?
uh, 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 it's it's. I don't think KD himself wants it. I do think KD wants a project, but right now, any team that needs KD or that's going to take KD must already have a vocal leader because
But yeah,
KD
yeah,
is
we
like
spoke about that.
Kawhi.
Yeah, yeah.
KD is not going to be vocal. He's going to give you his numbers, but he needs somebody else to pick up the motivation, the correction, the
They have that already.
in who? In SGA and
I
Chet
think this
Yeah,
Holmgren?
game,
they have that already. Anyways, we'll not flog that right now because I don't want to get into any form of battle with you, Oracle Kachi. We'll go on a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll be jumping straight into the Champions League, a review of Chelsea winning the Europa Conference League, and of course more. Don't go anywhere, guys.